Well, welcome.
Hello again. Welcome back to Behind the Scenes with Santa and
And
Mrs.
Mrs.
Claus.
Claus.
Well, and we got a really fun episode
I
that we're
think
going to
so.
talk
This
about
is
today.
going to be pretty unusual for those people that are not really in the Santa community. So,
Yeah, I mean, generally the public doesn't get to see some of the behind the scenes stuff that we do.
yeah.
But in this particular episode, we're going to talk about Santa conventions,
We
and we're
are.
going to talk about the very first Santa convention.
Yes.
And I was so blessed. I was a major player in this. I was the director of marketing for the very
Yeah.
first Santa
Yeah.
convention, which actually took place in Branson, Missouri. Now, this is for the United States.
Yeah.
I better qualify this because
Yes.
I know Europe's been doing Santa conventions for years and years.
That is true.
But this was the first U.S.
Yes.
Santa convention that
Yeah.
we're aware of that we remember, and we were pretty heavily involved in the Santa community at the time.
That's true. And we should give, at the very beginning, we should give a shout out to Santa Tim Conahan. This was his brainchild.
This was his baby from
Yep.
start to finish. I mean, we talked about this during luncheons in L.A., and he just grabbed the ball and ran with it. And he went to Branson and he talked to the town there and got everything situated. And boy, and I'll tell you, there was a lot, and I mean a lot, to this convention.
Yes, absolutely.
It was more than just a bunch of guys in red suits getting together in a big room and talking. We had classes. These were like the first national classes for Santas on how to be a Santa, how to dress like a Santa, how to act like a Santa, how to get Santa gigs, how to do different things. I mean, all the way through. And Tim put all of those together.
Yeah, he did. I mean, and it was, again, going back a little further, it was a good year or so, I think, that he was really planning this. It took place in just the beginning of July, but there was obviously a long time planning. And yeah, as Joe said, he was in marketing. And I think we should acknowledge the fact that also was really before. Email was out there, but there wasn't, honestly, it didn't be used a lot.
There wasn't the social media and stuff that there was today. I mean, it was going, but not crazy.
Not much. And you had to get in touch with all the media.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing press releases like crazy. I was contacting different stations, talking to different people. And and quite honestly, it was a major endeavor, and nobody had ever seen this before, so they weren't sure what to expect. And actually, we're going to break this one into two parts, because we're going to talk about the convention itself,
Yes.
and then we're going to talk about what came out of that convention, because it was a major change for the Santa community and for the nation as a whole, as far as contacting Santas and that kind of thing.
It really,
That's when things really started to jump, and agencies started forming and different things happening. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, but first we got to talk, and we also got to give a shout out to the city of Branson, Missouri.
Oh yes.
Oh God, they were so wonderful.
Open their
us.
arms, and again, this was such a different convention, and as Joe said, nobody really knew what to expect, including Santa, all the Santas, and you hope that it's going to turn out well. You hope you're going to get a lot people to come, but it was a big question mark.
Yeah, it was, because nobody had ever done this before.
No,
At least not in the U.S. And to be honest with you, it was just absolutely stunning when it came off.
It was.
Because we had hundreds and hundreds of Santas. I think we had like about 400 Santas.
I think about 400 came, which was, you really, when you think about how many Santas there are in the United States, and there's really not as many. Sometimes at Christmas it might seem so.
You might see them everywhere, but trust me, they really aren't.
But no, and also Tim did reach out to the whole United States.
Yeah,
he actually had a Santa school, and he traveled around, so he actually had quite a few contacts on how to get other Santas involved, they came from everywhere,
from absolutely everywhere, from Canada, from
North Pole, Alaska.
North Pole, Alaska, the four compass points of the U.S. I mean, it was quite fascinating, and of course all the looks. Oh my gosh. You saw so many different types of costumes and looks on Santa Claus. And that's when we really began to learn how diversified some of these costumes were. And some of the old world Santas and the traditional Santas and the Coca-Cola Santas and the custom looks and
everything from kind of your simple, more traditional Santa looks to, oh my gosh, just drop dead gorgeous costumes. It was just so...
Costumes I still drool over.
Yeah, that is true.
I'd look good in that. Yeah, absolutely. But just an incredible array of looks. And Tim was able to put on a Santa parade.
Yes.
So we actually had a parade going down Branson.
Yes.
Where everybody got to see all the Santas in their finery.
Yeah.
And boy, I'll tell you what a kick that was. And we're going to get again on the second part of it. I'm going to tell you what happened after the parade, because it's mind-blowing. But anyway.
It is.
But as far as the convention itself goes, I mean, Tim not only set up all the classes, but we also actually even had like a mini trade show.
Yes, there was people there selling Santa costumes, accessories. There was also individuals there that from malls that hired Santas for the different malls.
Yes.
They were there. So that was pretty amazing too.
Again, never in one
place.
Everybody gathered in one place to do all this. I mean, it was just, it hadn't been heard of. And Tim did a fabulous job putting it together. And I'm going to take a little bow myself. We did a pretty good job of getting a lot of media and a lot of attention for this. And subsequently, it wound up, forming a whole bunch of stuff, which again, we're going to touch in part 2. But realistically, I'll tell you, we learned so much, and I was just still a new Santa at the time. I
hadn't been a Santa
I hadn't
for
been
very
a Santa
long.
for more than a couple of years.
Yeah, I think this was your 4th year, really.
Third
or 4th year.
Third year, I think.
Third year, yeah.
And I learned so much in that year on both sides of the equation on that. Not only just being a Santa, but how to organize and, try and keep all the Santas, collected and moving in the same way, and that time it was absolutely astounding.
It was.
I mean, we took over the entire hotel, which was fun because anybody that was staying there that wasn't a Santa, they're riding up and down the elevator with like 10 Santas at every time that they were in there, and they were just like.
And I gotta say, even for us, I had alluded to that a little earlier at one of those luncheons. Well, this was magnified 5 times. So really, it was everywhere you looked, there was a Santa. every place you looked, there was a Santa. It doesn't matter. And it was, it was hard. I mean, again, I had said, usually he's so easy to pick out of a crowd with his beard and everything.
She
Not
couldn't
there. Oh my
find me.
gosh, yeah. I mean, it really, and of course there were hundreds. So
Oh, yeah.
it's not like there was a couple of dozen Santas, and it was like, oh yeah, there he is. It sometimes did take a while.
And even with the variety of costumes and stuff,
Yeah,
it was still
yeah.
hard because it was a sea of red.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was really.
And this is before
difficult.
cell phones, so it's not like I had a
Right.
cell phone that I could at least call him and go, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
I you just had to search. But
Well,
anyway,
and then the other things we did some wonderful things. In fact, we went on a paddle boat cruise.
We
at
did.
the end of the convention, which was just incredible. But we're going to talk more about that
Yeah, we're
when
gonna
we come
take
back from our break.
yeah, we're gonna take a quick break here, and we'll come right back to you.
The Santa's Elf series of children's books features wonderful rhyme and beautiful corner-to-corner illustrations and include a special message from Santa at the end of each story. I wrote the books and Mrs. Claus did the artistry. Available in hard and soft covers, these books are available wherever great children's books are sold, or online or at our website, thenorthpolepress.com. There are 7 already published and more on the way. So pick up one or more of these books and read them to your kids today.
We're back. So yeah,
Oh boy.
as Joe said, one of the other things that Tim did which was again so wonderful because he provided entertainment for us. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously everybody on the outside was thrilled because we were their entertainment, but for us, we had
We had shows.
Yeah,
that
he procured
that
a
we were
dinner.
able to get discount
Yeah.
tickets for,
and he
different
procured
things.
a dinner on
Yeah.
a paddle boat.
On a paddle boat.
Oh, that was
which-
so much fun.
That's the first and
time.
last time I've been on a paddle
yeah,
boat.
and it was
so,
it was just great fun.
yeah.
It was wonderful. Then the whole we had a
The whole
huge,
boat was strictly Santa's and
Yes.
their
yeah,
spouses.
and it was huge dining room, and it was just to see a Santa's, and it was just so wonderful. We had just the best time, and of course the other thing for us is we had a chance to meet Santas from other parts of the country and made some really good friends while we were there, which otherwise would probably never have happened because there were Santas that one in particular from Minnesota that we probably never would have crossed paths with, and so we really, that was another opportunity to swap stories.
And he became a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
And, oh boy, I'll tell you, talk about Santa
Costumes.
series.
Yeah.
Oh, he goes off the deep end.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah.
But we did. We not only did we meet Santas from all over the country, but we learned about a lot of different experiences that
Yes.
Santas go through.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure everybody's familiar with like the North Pole Express trains and stuff that happen at Christmas, but and of course malls, which a lot of the Santas were mall Santas that worked every year.
Yeah.
But I mean, it went so far and beyond that. It's besides like home visits and corporate visits and commercials, the usual things you would think of. You got to hear about experiences that Santa's had that were just outstanding. I mean, really
and the
unusual.
other, as Joe said, there were courses or classes, if you want to talk about the different things of aspects of being Santa. And one of them was on hospital visits and hospice.
Yes.
And, talk about, oh my gosh, stories that just touched your heart.
Oh, you were in tears.
Yeah. And that's one of the things of a lot of people don't realize, they think Santa's all happy,
Fun
jolly,
and games. Yeah.
and all your experiences are fun, and most of them are, certainly.
They're all certainly heartwarming
Yes.
for the most part. I mean, occasionally.
But there are some that, are not a happy-go-lucky child
Jovial kind of
that
thing,
comes
yeah.
and we actually had not made any hospital visits or anything prior to the convention, but having attended the class, it was wonderful because they gave you some great information and
Yeah, I mean, like being, some of the senior citizens' homes and such like
yeah,
that.
that's true.
Which we never even gave thought to.
No.
And we certainly didn't consider ourselves senior citizens
Not
at the time.
that time.
Now we're kind of looking at it a little differently, but
Not so much then.
not that. But but it showed us just how diversified
Yes.
Santas are and what they do. And some of the things.
Yeah, it was just, again, as Joe said, a lot of different aspects to being Santa. And it was great because, again, when you're amongst those that do it and see it and you're kind of a newbie, it's wonderful to be able to hear their stories and be, so that was, again, a wonderful part of that.
And you
convention.
realize just how many lives Santa touches every
That's true.
Christmas, every year.
That is
And,
true.
being the driving force behind a lot of wonderful things from, angel trees and donations to, church visits.
Well, the list just
Really became endless, and we didn't realize this.
I know. I think, again, as we often said, this was still a learning experience for us, and this convention just threw open all kinds of doors and windows and all kinds of things that we could do, and we did. We
I was going to say, it inspired us
Yes, it
to
did.
do
Yes, it
those
did.
community projects that,
Yes.
that we talked about on our earlier podcast, and doing more for individuals, and you didn't realize how big an effect you could have
Right. Yes.
on a situation like that until you actually start doing it or seeing others do it.
That's true.
And then it really launched us from that. Well, we gotta tell you what happened during the convention and afterward, but we're saving that for the next podcast because I'll tell you, that alone is going to take some minutes to talk about. So, and we don't want to throw everything at you at once.
No, because you'd be listening to us for quite a long time.
Not that we hope you don't do that anyway,
Well,
but
that's true. That's true.
So thank you for joining us for this, and make sure you stay tuned for the next one because it's going to be very interesting. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.